Hi guys, this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm here with a junk journal, or what's going to be anyway a junk journal, with a fabric cover. So this is a fabric cover that we've made in a mass making session, and I have literally bound the journal. As you can see, I've put this piece of kind of internal envelope down to reinforce the spine, but aside from that, it's, you know, it's pretty much plain. So I thought, let's come along and kind of make a start on this journal. So obviously, like I say, I've bound the pages, they are all plain, so I can kind of go, you know, whatever direction that I like with this journal. But because it's got this kind of medieval, you know, what I kind of think looks quite medieval fabric on the journal cover, and because I've gone with all neutrals, I'm kind of thinking that we could go quite you know, traditional vintage kind of colours with this journal. Whether or not I'll achieve that, I don't know, because often then I'm, you know, suckered into using colour. I just can't help myself. But for the time being, my plan is, you know, stick to quite being the operative word, you know, vintagey kind of pieces. So I've got some book page and things here. Now I've also got some vintage documents, and I'm just having a look because I thought I had some sheet music, but now I can't see it. Oh, why do we switch the cord on and then start thinking, oh my goodness, what happens I got? It happens all the time. You know, you think you're sorted out and then you press record and suddenly think, oh my goodness, actually, where is all my stuff gone? So I'm just having a look behind me because I've got some other bits in my little scraps tray. So yeah, so I've got quite a lot of vintage stuff here. Now, you know, it doesn't all have to be vintage, but I'd like it all to look vintage. So, you know, like I say, it doesn't have to be vintage, but hopefully at least look vintage. So I'm just going to kind of get sticking. Now, I know I've talked about this before, but when I do these, you know, types of journal covers, I quite like collaging the inside. I think the collage kind of look really, you know, just works really nicely, you know, with the fabric covers. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking here. Now, do we want to have such big piece here is the question, or would we rather kind of break it up? Maybe kind of break it up a bit more. Yeah, just because otherwise I'm thinking, oh, perhaps that's going to be a bit ginormous, and you know, whatever then I put down on the page might look really strange. So perhaps we'll have it like that. Yeah, perhaps we'll do something like that. Right, okay, now I'm going to try not to overthink this, which of course is very tricky, isn't it? Because once you start overthinking, you generally just end up down that kind of slippery slope, I find. So I'm going to try my best not to overthink, but wow, will I achieve it? There's a whole nother thing. So just going to put this on here. So this is some vintage book page. You know, nothing kind of like too special or anything like that, but yeah, let's just pop that down. Yeah, I'm thinking kind of go quite neutral with this journal. I mean, like I say, whether or not I will actually achieve that, I'm so sorry about the state of my sheet music. I had got another sheet of sheet music, but I must have actually put it somewhere on my way to my desk because I can no longer see it. So yeah, best laid plans and all that. So I'm just going to have to go with this, but that's fine. So I'm just going to glue this down. Yeah, I mean, it might be that it will kind of like go off at a tangent and not stay neutrally, not stay vintagey, because I do struggle to, you know, not include colour. But I'm thinking, you know, that cover looks quite, you know, vintage and kind of neutral, doesn't it? So, yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe this will be one of those that we have like a lot of black lace and things like that, because, you know, that cover is looking like it would be lending itself quite well to black lace as well, doesn't it? So yeah, perhaps we'll kind of go down the black lace route. I don't know. Who knows? It's one of those types of things that sometimes you can't really tell what's going to go on with a journal until you actually kind of get working. And then, you know, it just takes on a mind of its own, I think, or takes on a life of its own. You know, which actually is exciting then, isn't it? I mean, personally, I probably wouldn't go with bright colours now because I would feel like that didn't go with my cover. But that's not a kind of hard and fast rule. You know, that's just kind of like my intention would be not go. Oops, let's just get rid of that. My intention would be, you know, not go with anything too bright because I feel it wouldn't really go with the cover. But, you know, once I get started, who knows? Maybe I will then, you know, get suckered in and kind of incorporate some bright things. I'm kind of putting it that way just because actually I probably prefer this side to the plain text. I think it's just a bit more interesting. I've used quite big pieces of paper on this collage. I don't know whether you can kind of like see that, but you know, sometimes I end up using, oops, oh no, look what I've done. I said, oh, I want to use that side, and now I've used the complete other side. Oh well. Hey, I mean, they're both quite nice, aren't they? So, yeah, too much talking, not enough concentrating, obviously. Oh dear. Honestly, it doesn't bode well for the rest of the video, does it? It definitely does not. Right, just thinking could put another bit of sheet music down here. Yeah, like that, okay. Yeah, I probably wouldn't go with kind of like really brights or, you know, like say, I don't know, purples and things like that, because to me that wouldn't really kind of blend very well with the cover. That being said, I don't always have my covers necessarily matching what's in the journal. But there's a difference between kind of matching and, you know, out and out clashing, I think. So for me, I just think I probably wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't now put like bright purple bits in here because I think it just would feel really weird, you know, because it would have no kind of place there whatsoever. But, you know, who knows? Who knows? Like I say, I might suddenly go down a complete different track to what I'm thinking, and I might end up with, you know, it's smothered in purple. But just in my head at this point, I kind of think, I wouldn't do that, you know, if I was thinking about it. But hey, like I've just glued that piece of paper upside down, who knows what's going to happen during the making process. I might just, you know, forget all about what's on the cover and end up, you know, smothering it with purple bits. Who knows? Stranger things have happened. So yeah, definitely no hard and fast rules, are there? Right, this time I'm going to have that more interesting side. Right, put this down instantly before I forget completely that I was wanting to put down the more interesting side. So yeah, okay, like that. Spread the glue. Okay. Now again, I'm not really too worried, you know, if this is a little bit bumpy or anything like that. The chances are I'm probably going to have something on this back page anyway. I'm probably going to have a pocket or, you know, something on there, in which case, you know, most of this will be covered up anyway. You're probably not going to see a great deal of it. You know, not 100% the case, but, you know, definitely I would expect to have, you know, some other bits and pieces going on. So, you know, not too worried how it looks at the moment. It's not going to be a kind of like focal point. I mean, it's going to hopefully add some interest. You know, it's not going to be a big plain space. It's, you know, it's going to add a bit of interest, but it's definitely not going to be the kind of be all and end all. It's going to have like a pocket or, you know, belly band or something over it. So, okay, like that. So loving how that looks. Yeah, looks really, really nice. I mean, it's weird because I always am drawn to colour, but on the very odd occasion that I do stick with neutrals, which, you know, it's got to be said, that is very, you know, very rare occasion, but I do then really, really love them. And I always kind of think, oh, I must do more neutral stuff. but then, you know, my love of colour kind of takes over. You know, I kind of like start out neutral and then I spot something coloured on the desk and then, oh, before I know it, I'm, you know, away with the colour. Away with the colour. So, yeah. But that being said, I mean, how scrumptious does this look? Being this neutral kind of effect. I mean, it just looks gorgeous, doesn't it? Absolutely gorgeous. You know, you could just leave this as is and not even cover it up with anything, and it looks just beautiful as it is. So I'm just going to snip this down so as we've got a straight edge there, so as I can put it down in that edge piece like that. Okay. But, you know, equally, I mean, I could have collaged this with some brightly coloured papers and I would have loved that equally so. I mean, the only reason I didn't do that was because, like I say, I felt I was being led by the, you know, what I would term as a sort of medieval look on that cover, you know, with that dark, what do you call that? That sort of heavy tapestry type thing, you know, like, I don't know, in Tudor times and things, they would have had things like that hung up on the walls, wouldn't they? Yeah, this kind of fabric, you know, I just feel like that's driving the project so far, and you know, the direction is vintagey neutral. Vintagey neutral. So yeah, right, let's just glue that down. Now again, just going to spread this so that it's hopefully, you know, looking a bit better. Okay, there we go. Right, just quickly touch this piece up here. Oops. Okay, right, looking good. So that's my inside of the back cover, the inside of the front cover. Obviously it's quite soggy at the moment because, you know, I've just glued it all down, but like I say, I'm not really too worried because a lot of that's going to be covered up anyway by the time that we've, you know, kind of covered it with pockets and what have you. Now, whilst we're on the subject of that type of stuff, I have got here some of my you know, wine labels that I purchased. So these are the vintage wine labels. Now, I have shown these before in a different video. We've used them for a few things. They are of different levels of vintageness. I mean, they're all, I think, probably kind of 80s, but, you know, they're not, I think, anything too old. I mean, that one's 1982. Got those from 1990. So, you know, they're not like really ancient or anything. I mean, obviously, if they were, you know, you'd maybe want to rethink using them. But there are some very lovely labels here, it's got to be said. And I'm kind of thinking, you know, if we're going with like the vintage look and the sort of more colourless kind of look, I think maybe some of these are going to look quite nice as kind of pockets and things on here. So I'm going to just play around and see what we could do with this. So I've got here some ivory card. So what we could do is kind of make a little fold-outy piece, or we could just kind of have this more like a pocket. I'm wondering how it will work being on the cover of a journal, because, you know, sometimes things kind of work better in some places than others, if you see what I mean. So, you know, it's worth always kind of bearing in mind where it's going to be placed in the journal. Is that going to be very functional? You know, this kind of being smack bang in the middle on the cover, is that going to kind of compromise this at all? I think it will be okay. Yeah, I think it probably would be okay, to be honest. So yeah, should we go for that? Now, this is not cut very straight, it's got to be said. And what's annoying is this is slightly too small already for the label. So I'm going to now have to cut this bottom bit off of the label. So I'm going to go right the way across, you know, where it has like the volume of alcohol and all that. Get rid of that entire piece, and then there we go. That just fits on there perfectly, which is awesome, isn't it? So let's just take that and pop that down. Whoa. Okay. Oops. Oh, come on. Right, I'm just spreading some of this glue out because these, you know, wine labels, they're quite thin. They're quite kind of fragile paper. So I don't want to kind of have it too lumpy bumpy. So if I just kind of spread the glue out a little bit, it's hopefully going to kind of like help it not be too lumpy. So like that, okay. Like that. Okie dokie, right. I'll pull that up. So pull this back. So yeah, I mean, that looks quite pretty, doesn't it? And then I think what we'll do, again, trying to just stick with the neutrally kind of theme here. I mean, so far, obviously, we're just on page 1. So who knows by the time I get through the journal, but for the time being, because I mean, I'd be really falling down, wouldn't I, if I fell at the first hurdle and, you know, went off adding colour. I mean, obviously, yep, straight away that butterfly caught my eye and I thought, oh, because it does look really nice on there, doesn't it? It does look really nice. Oh, I must not do that, right, because that's just pathetic, isn't it? If I can't even get through the first page without bringing some colour in. But do you see what I mean? It just looks really good, doesn't it? No, I must try and be good for the first page at least. I mean, if I want to go down kind of off at a colourful route later, then that's okay. But oh my goodness, from page 1, let's at least try and do the very first video, kind of sticking with the theme. Now I've got some black lace here, so I'm wondering whether I might want to have some black lace running down the edge. So I'm just going to cut this down and I'm just going to tear this off of that header piece. This is like on a you know, like a ruched lace on a gathered, that's the word, gathered lace. Oh, I can never see what's the right way and the wrong way of the lace. Right, hopefully that's the right way. Oh my goodness, I mean, doesn't that look lovely? It's very dramatic looking, isn't it? Which I love, to be honest. You know, I mean, I do love that equally to the, you know, that bright coloured kind of butterfly and things. You know, I think this looks equally as good. So, you know, I'm not feeling kind of disappointed or anything. Now, I've just got these couple of butterflies stamped onto the book page, which, you know, they're just laying around on the edge of my desk. But I just thought, well, you know, maybe. Oh, that's quite nice on there, actually. Let me just ink this up. I mean, I do love that kind of crest, it's got to be said. So, you know, do I want to cover that up? Having said that, I could put it here, I suppose, where I then keep the crest showing. Let me just see if I was to put this onto a bit of lace. So let's just take that down there. I mean, this might be like one bit too much lace, but oh, I mean, that looks very pretty, doesn't it? You know, so we've brought that together very, very simply, haven't we? But it's brought in the lace, it's brought in the kind of bit of drama, you know, by just adding that black lace. But it's still looking very neutral, which, yeah, I really do love. So let's glue the lace down on the side. Okay. I mean, I feel even, oh, I don't want to cover these up because I love that portion of that texty page, but it's just ridiculous behaviour from me that, you know, I just get so attached to some of the images. Right, okay, so let's put that down like that. So I've just used Fabri-Tac to glue that lace down. Now on here, do we want to ink the edges is the question. I think we probably do. It might have a little bit of wet glue, which, you know, then it might just look a little bit dark, but that's okay. I just have to take that chance. And then we'll just open it up and do the inside. Okay. Oh idea where the dog is today. She is not in her bed. do love that. Right, just going to check that we want to have that on the book and not somewhere else. What about to the side? I mean, that is nice, isn't it? Right, okay. So I'm just going to glue this lace down here. And obviously, you know, you could put some other pages in this book or anything, you know, a little flippy pad or something like that. I'm not sure whether I'm going to bother. Partly because, obviously, this is our very first page of this journal. So at the moment, you know, this journal's completely flat. So, you know, it feels like, oh, we can do this, we can do that. But very quickly, as we know, they have a way of taking on a life of their own, don't they? And, you know, before I know it, suddenly this will be bulging and then I'll be wishing I hadn't put those extra pages in. So that's why I'm kind of thinking, oh, perhaps I'll hold fire, because we could always put a flippy pad in, you know, further down the line if we thought, oh, well, actually, we've got plenty of, you know, plenty of space. So I'm thinking just kind of something like that, to be honest. Looks gorgeous. So I'm just going to hot glue this label down. I think I said, but if I didn't, that's just a label from my, I think it's the label set 2. I love the fact it's a big one there, because it's, you know, it's a big effect and a big impact without cluttering up the page too much, which I think is really nice, isn't it? So this, I'm thinking, do we want some string? I'm now looking for where my string is. Ah, it's behind me. Hold on. I used to use string all the time. I don't seem to use it so much now, and I don't know what that's about. You know, I do still love it. I think you just forget to use things, don't you? But I do really like the string. So yeah, I'm kind of thinking we could just, oops, tie this up. Oh my goodness. Sorry, really fingers and thumbs again today. Oh, it just seems to be something I have to say all the time. So yeah, let's just cut that down. Like that. What do we think to the string? I mean, I think the string's really pretty. So I'm just going to glue that string on. I'm just going to glue that on with the hot glue. So just holding that string in place with the hot glue, press it down like that. Okay, like that. Oops. Oh, sorry, I'm making a lot of mess here, but I mean, it doesn't matter, that bit's going to be covered up anyway. So like that, I think. Now, do we want to have this as like a tuck spot? Do we want to have it as a pocket? Probably I'd prefer it as a pocket here. That means I just need to put a little bit more glue down here for the lace, just because obviously that's not going to be held down anywhere on there. And I'm just going to put a little tiny bit of lace glue up here as well. Okay, just so it's, you know, secured properly onto the page. So like that, okay. And then I can just pop this down, and I'm going to pop it down this way. So 3 sides as a sort of side loading pocket. So just going with the hot glue, just, you know, because that's quick and easy when you're doing a video. So like that, press that down like that. How gorgeous does that look? Absolutely gorgeous, doesn't it? So super quick and easy, you know, first page, and it looks very, very pretty, doesn't it? You know, nothing kind of to that, but just, yeah, simplicity in itself, isn't it? And we've obviously used up 1 or 2 things that were laying around. Well, one thing really, just that butterfly. So yeah, I can't really kind of be, you know, feeling too chuffed with the, you know, the progress that's been made. So that's that one. Now, probably what I will do is I will go through my ready-made ephemera and see if I've got a bunch of ready-made stuff in neutral colours and vintage kind of things to be able to kind of then, you know, progress with the journal. So, you know, we've done this one, but I will probably go through and see what else I've got. That being said, I have got a couple of things kind of sat right here that I just happen to know our neutral colours. So let's just bring these in and just see whether we could have these anywhere. So hold on. Right. So yeah, straight away I've got a few little bits and pieces here. So I'm kind of thinking maybe go to the back and maybe attach something straight to the back of the book. Oops. So we've got this kind of little paper bag booklet. So we could have this in here. Now I haven't added any pages to that, it's got to be said. But yeah, I think that would be quite nice. Or we could just have this, to be honest, what we could do is even have it here where it opens out on the side of the page, and this side would then be a pocket. I think that's rather nice actually. Yeah, I hadn't ever even thought of doing that, but I think that's a really nice way to use this. So it's a paper bag, it's folded in half and it was going to be a kind of booklet. I never got to the point of putting the pages in. So what I'm thinking is actually attach it here on 3 sides, so it's going to be a, you know, side loading pocket. And then on this side, it will obviously open out. So you're going to have your paper bag portion here to be able to fill up. And you've got under here that you could put something else. So I love that, to be honest. So I'm just going to glue this down. Just going to use my wet glue. Oops. So straight down on the edge. Whoops. Oh, come on. On the edge like that. And then here. Like that. So obviously that paper bag's not been opened out on this side. It's going to be, you know, a pocket. And obviously that's quite nice because the paper bag is quite flimsy. So by not opening the paper bag, it's got the kind of more durability to it because it's now thicker. You know, because it's got the 2 sides of the paper bag. So like that. How yummy is that? I love how that is. And then of course there we've just got the opening here. Now I just need to run my finger down there, get rid of any glue because I'm terrible for actually gluing things closed. So wipe that out like that. Okay. Oh, I love love how that looks. And then of course what we could do is just decorate this up. So again, I've got some of those you know, vintage wine labels. So I'm just thinking maybe another one of those would be really nice on here. Maybe that one. I mean, it's quite interesting when you look at them because they're actually mainly the same. You know, yeah, they're pretty much similar. So, I mean, that's quite nice, isn't it? We could have that on there. I'm just wondering whether I want to kind of cut this in or we could tear it around. I've got some more of the black lace. So I'm thinking we could edge the pocket with some of the black lace. Or we could have some, you know, when I say coloured lace, I don't mean, you know, I'm not adding colour yet. I'm still maintaining the neutral theme at the moment. But maybe kind of like some, oh my goodness, how gorgeous does that look? That is scrumptious, isn't it? I love how that looks. So yeah, really like that. Now, do we want to have this torn or do we want it square? Oh, this is a tough decision. I think I'm going, oh, yeah, I think I'm going to cut it in. Definitely it's a bit wide for that pocket as it is. So just cut it in a bit. Like that, okay. Yeah, right, let's just quickly ink this up. Where is my ink gone? Okay. Right, let's just quickly ink this up. I'm going to have to hunt down some more bits of, you know, things in neutral colours because I can see I'm going to run out very quickly if I'm not careful. So, yeah, I will hunt down some other neutral bits before we do any more with this, I think. But, yeah, I'm loving how it looks so far. So something like that. And then probably decorate around the edge, maybe with like some little butterflies or something like that. Again, I need to kind of dig some out so that I'm using just the neutral stuff, but that's the plan. So let's just pop this down. Now, I'm not putting these down as pockets or anything because they're in this flimsy paper. You know, these are those vintage labels, and I keep saying this, but they are in very flimsy paper. So, you know, for me, I wouldn't feel comfortable using this as a pocket. Obviously, if you wanted to, you could just reinforce it on some book page or plain page of some sort. And then you'd obviously have thickness to be able to use it as a pocket. But I'm just going to, you know, go for it like this instead. So pop that down like that. Okay. Yeah, love how that looks. So, I mean, it's thin page on thin paper bag. So that's kind of worth bearing in mind. You know, it is, yeah, thin on thin, if you know what I mean. So I'm just going to glue this down. Now, I don't very often leave the scalloped edge on the lace. Scalloped or scalloped? I don't know. I don't very often leave that on the lace, but I'm going to in this one because actually it looks really pretty on here. So just leaving that scalloped edge like that. Okay. How gorgeous. How gorgeous does that look? Love how that looks. So just trim that off. Oh my goodness, that is so pretty, isn't it? So again, obviously, and I know I keep saying this is quite wet. It's quite soggy at the moment. So, you know, it is a little bit kind of fragile at the moment, but obviously, you know, it will be more robust once it's dried. So yeah. And then we've got this one here, which obviously then folds out. As you can see, it's already wanting to stick down. So yeah, probably just as well that we've opened it out like that. And obviously then, you know, we can put stuff underneath here. Can put things on here. So, you know, I'll probably, yeah, print off some maybe neutral butterflies and things. Maybe some labels and stuff like that. And then we can, you know, decorate this a little bit further. But it's so pretty, isn't it? I just love how it looks. And then I've got this little pad, which maybe we could just have under there. Or maybe even poking out, maybe above. Maybe even from the top of the page, like that. Oh, that's quite nice, isn't it? So that would be a little flippy pad under there. Let's do that. Okay, so just going to hot glue this. Again, just being really lazy because then it's just done. So like that. And I've tried to put it right at the top. And that's a bit of a different look. You know, I don't that often put things right at the top of a page like that. But I quite like the fact that it's then visible above this. So, you know, often I would hide things like underneath here. But actually, I quite like that being quite, you know, visible at the top like that. So, yeah, I hope that you like it. I mean, what a lovely start to this journal. It just looks very, very pretty, doesn't it? Obviously, we have got no black going on these two pages. So, yes, I will definitely be incorporating some more black stuff. You know, because I don't want to just have black on that first page and nowhere else. So yeah, we'll definitely include some more black things everywhere else. I will go through some of my ready-made ephemera, maybe with you guys, and then we will come back and we'll do some more on here. So yeah, I really hope that you like how it's looking so far. And thank you so much for watching. Hope you feel inspired to maybe do some vintage pieces yourself, or colourless, neutral, you know, kind of maybe some wine labels, or you know, any of those kinds of things. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks then.